Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel, and today we're talking about an update on my Henry VIII project pan. Julie's Henry VIII project pan. This project was created by Julie from Julie's Caboodle Confessions, and this project centers around Henry VIII's 6 wives. We will basically rolling in an item for each of the wives for the first 6 months of the year and panning them, trying to use them the amount of times that each wife was alive, how many years she lived for. Throughout the first 6 months, it was just anything that reminded us of the wives. Now, after the 6-month mark, we're going through all the wives again and rolling in new products, but this time Julie's doing more videos themed around sort of like how they died and interesting mysteries around like their deaths and how people reacted to it and all things like that. So we're doing a slightly more like morbid second half of the year, but I'm loving it. It is amazing. The videos are great and I do really enjoy them. I'm going to be skipping over the products I've already finished, so sorry if these wives seem very out of order, but yeah. First up, for Catherine of Aragon, I've been working on a shade from my W7 on the Rocks palette, and it is this shade down here called Bloody Mary, because Catherine gave birth to Mary, who became Bloody Mary. I needed to use this 50 times. I've used it once this past month to bring it up to a total of 7 uses. So yeah, we're not doing too great on that one, but I'm hoping to buckle down and use that a lot now, especially since my companion palette for August, for my Pan That palette, is all warm tone yellow browns, so it'll go well with this shade. This shade is a lot deeper than it seems, because it seems like a brown that you can maybe like blend out and use as a crease shade, but like it is exactly this color like it looks in the pan. It's so pigmented and pretty dark. For Jane Seymour, I was using a color in my Ruby Cocoa Crumble palette, and Henry thought that she was special because she gave birth to a son, so I was using this shade Special for Jane, and I needed to use it 28 times. I used it once more this past month to bring me up to a total of 8 uses so far. Not too bad, and this is a really nice colour, but because it's so shimmery I can only really wear it on my days off because it is bright, it is blingy. I haven't really been wearing makeup to work recently anyway though, just because I don't really have the time or the mental energy before I go in for a 14-hour shift to do like makeup, plus they're not too keen on it anyway. Like, it's got to be very, very minimal, very neutral if I'm doing makeup for work, so why really bother? For Anne of Cleves, I was using a shade in my Chocolate Rose Gold palette. I'm loving these chocolate bar palettes lately, and I've been rolling them into other projects as well. But for Anne of Cleves, the prompt, the eyeshadow I was using is this one, called Hold Up. And I've used it twice more this past month. You can see the corner that I'm really working on here. I needed to use it 41 times. I've used it twice more this past month for a total of 15 uses. The reason I chose this shade Hold Up is because when Henry saw her in person, he was like, "Hold up, this is not the woman I saw in the picture. Divorce." Anyways, that is a nice shade, and it's much less like sparkly compared to the shade Special, and it is slightly yellow toned, so I think it will go with the stuff that I'm panning next month as well. But yeah, I just mainly use it as an inner corner colour a lot of the time. That's why I have like such a small dent forming in the corner, because I just use a tiny brush to put it as an inner corner highlight. Then for Catherine Howard, I'm using this blush from PS in the shade Secrecy, because she had some little secret affairs and things going on, at least according to Henry. I only needed to use this 20 times because Catherine didn't get to live that long, unfortunately. I've used it 8 times in the past month to bring me up to a total of 15 uses as well, so only 5 more uses on this blush, and it was brand new when I rolled it in. You can kind of see some of the imprint wearing away, but it's nothing major. And I will say, the only thing that bothers me about this blush is it's got tiny specks of gold glitter, and I think that messes with the consistency of the blush because it doesn't look properly blended out on your cheeks sometimes. And I thought it was just an overspray, but it seems to be like throughout the whole blush really. maybe not. But it is a lovely colour. It's this sort of like peachy shade, and I love peach shades on me. I think they're probably one of my favourite blush colours to wear. But yeah, that one won't take long. And then for Catherine Parr, I also rolled in a blush from my Sunkissed Love and Blush palette. And it was this shade here, Sweet Cupid, because she had a lot of romantic partners in her life, you know? She was a romantical lady, got married loads of times, so Sweet Cupid felt fitting for her, you know? Cupid was very, very involved in her life. But yeah, I needed to use this 36 times, and I've used it 5 times, so 31 more uses to go, which will be okay. Even though it looks like this very sort of mauve-toned blush, it's actually very pink when you put it on. Like, look at how pink that looks compared to it in the pan. It looks more like this blush or this one, but yeah. So it was very pink going on, which is why I haven't necessarily used it as much as I thought I was going to, because I thought it was going to give me more variety amongst my blushes, but no, it just looks pink as well, so yeah, but I do like it. I love that palette as a whole. It's very nice. It's just with blushes, it's so hard to see any progress whatsoever, really, isn't it? So trekking along. And then last month we started going through the wives again, so we were back to Catherine of Aragon, and I chose this lip liner in the shade Vow because she made a vow to Henry, and she stuck with that vow till the end of her life, even after he divorced her and said he didn't want her and stuff. As you can see, I have sharpened it, but the lead is a little bit like wobbly in there. I think it's shrunk a tiny bit. It's still not super creamy, but it's still soft enough to apply to the lips without being like scratchy or anything, so I'm going to continue using it. And I've got to use this 50 times. I've used it 3 so far this past month, which isn't terrible either. And it is a nice neutral, warm tone nude, so it looks really good. I really like this colour. Let me swatch this as well. It is like very, very brown. But yeah, it's a nice colour. I've been enjoying using it. So let's see what we're rolling in for the next wife. Okay, so for Anne Boleyn Part 2, I've decided to go for this birthday edition lip tint from the Beauty Crop in the shade Wishery, partly because this packaging is broken and I'm afraid this is what's been leaking in my boxes lately, but also it's starting to turn a little bit, like you can see it's gone a little bit gunky. It's just dried up, it's not like anything that bad, but yeah, I'm afraid that with the packaging being broken it might turn a bit quicker, and if it's leaking I don't really want it leaking all over all my stuff. So I'm going to roll this in. My reasoning for this is partly Wishery is French, and Anne Boleyn spent a lot of her time in France in her kind of childhood. And also, on top of that, when she was being led to her beheading, she supposedly wore a red petticoat under her dress, so I thought the red would be a nice nod to that in terms of her passing, her death. The French would link to her earlier childhood and stuff. So yeah, this is what I'll be rolling in, and I'll need to use it 30 times. Now with this lip tint, I didn't actually enjoy it very much as a lip tint, but I did like it as a blush, so I might use it as a blush these next few months, which really puts into perspective the fact that I have almost exclusively eyeshadows and blushes in this project. But what can I say? That's just what I'm leaning towards. That's what tends to have the right type of names for this project. But yeah, so I will let you know how my progress goes next month. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to Julie for creating this project. It is very fun, and I'm excited to see what she comes up with next year. Definitely go and watch her video because it was super interesting, and I will see you all next month. Bye!